It's time to live your stronger life. Hey, I'm Sammy, physio coach and nutritionist, and your hype girl for creating your stronger life. Here, we ditch the quick fixes and build real strength inside and out. So whether you're here to tone up, drop the body fat, build muscle, mental resilience, or ditch the diet culture, or just feel bloody good in your skin, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. Okay, let me guess if this is you. You wake up and before you've even moved, before you've had water, before you've done anything, you grab your phone and you check your wrist and you look at your sleep score. Red or orange, below your baseline. And now your day has started on the back foot. You're like, I feel tired. You feel like your workout's going to be terrible and you're already stressed. And it's 6 a.m. Sound familiar? Wearables are everywhere right now. Oura Rings, Whoop bands, Apple Watches, Garmin, Fitbit, all that. And they're generally incredible pieces of technology and they can be really valuable. They give you data on your sleep, heart rate variability, recovery steps, active calories. It's the kind of information that can be used, but it needs to be used in the right way and not misinterpreted. So here's what I'm seeing with a lot of women, and it's worth talking about. The tracker that was supposed to help them is now just another thing they stress about or they do not understand properly. Little, spoiler alert, your calories that are tracked in the app, in the watch, your energy expenditure, don't trust it. It can be anywhere from 20 to 80% or even 90% inaccurate. That calorie burn in that workout, no, don't rely on that because we just want to look at our total daily energy expenditure and not just go, oh, my watch told me I just burned 500 calories. I can go eat 500 calories of food. Not how it works. I know it feels like that's how it works, but that's not how it works because the watch is very inaccurate. But here's talk about what the trackers can actually tell you. So we'll start with what the devices are genuinely good at. Trends over time. A wearable can show you patterns that are incredibly useful. If your sleep quality tanks every Sunday night, that's information. If your resting heart rate spikes during high stress weeks at work, that's information. If your recovery scores are consistently low and your training isn't progressing, that's a signal worth paying attention to. I think sleep awareness, most people have no idea how much they're actually sleeping versus how long they're in bed. So wearables have made a lot of people realize their 8 hours is actually 5.5 hours of real sleep. And that's a wake-up call that is actually genuinely useful. Movement accountability in the sense of step counts or active minutes, standing reminders. For someone who has a sedentary job and is trying to increase their non-exercise activity burn, basically your daily movement outside of structured exercise, a tracker is a fantastic tool for making that invisible visible. So many people underestimate how much I'm so getting this the wrong way around. Enjoy. They overestimate how much energy output they actually have. So they think they exercise way more than they really do throughout the day. Like they think they're way more active than they really are. And they underestimate the food that they're eating. So they're actually physically eating more calories than what they put in their tracker. This whole combination is just a recipe for disaster for a lot of fat loss. So you need to really understand how to track accurately, and also that exercise burn is not something to really focus too much on, but just focus on the healthy habits of getting stronger, getting your steps in, improving your fitness, those markers instead. But here's what trackers also cannot tell you. Wearable is a consumer device. It uses algorithms and sensors to estimate numbers, and it's always an approximation, not the truth. So your sleep score is not a diagnosis. Your heart rate variability is not a perfect verdict on your health. The recovery percentage is not a guarantee of how your workout will go. But seeing that shitty number will also really impact how you approach that workout from a perspective of mentally, you're like, oh, I'm going to have a terrible workout. Well, yeah, you just told yourself you are. Of course you are. Whereas if you didn't know, sometimes you can go in and be like, I feel a bit crappy. But once you get going, you're like, oh, I had a really amazing workout. I'm sure you've had that experience before. And that's why. So the tracker can be useful, but also take it with a grain of salt. Because I've had times where I've felt amazing, trained the best sessions in months and had a terrible recovery score that morning, and then you've had times where my ring is like, you're fabulous, you're ready to rock and roll for the day, and I'm like, seriously, I'm in so much pain, I have no energy at all. So it's just not the whole picture, it's not perfect, it can't factor it all in, so just keep that in mind as well. And so the problem I see is when ladies override how they actually feel in favor for what the device says. My score's too low, so I shouldn't train today. But you feel fine, you slept okay, you have the energy. You're talking yourself out of a session because of a number on a screen. That's not using the data, that's outsourcing your self-awareness to an algorithm that is an algorithm on averages, not your exact data. So your body's going to send you signals too. So learn to read those signals alongside the data, not instead of it, but just in combination of it. And here's where tracking becomes a problem. And I suspect there may be a few listeners right now that this is going to resonate. It's where the tracker becomes another source of health anxiety. Checking the recovery scores first thing in the morning and feeling dread, feeling like you can't enjoy sleeping or a late night because it'll ruin your data, feeling like a failure when the numbers are low, adjusting your entire day based on a score rather than on how you're actually feeling and what your life actually requires. And if any of that sounds familiar, it's worth pausing and asking, is this tool serving me or stressing me out? Health and fitness tools should reduce anxiety over time, not create it. They should give you more confidence and awareness, not make you feel like you're constantly falling short of some metric. If your tracker has become a source of stress, it is completely valid to take a break from it. Wear it without looking at the scores for a week, or take it off for a month and just check in to see how you feel. You were able to be a human being with a functioning body before you had data on it. The data is just a helpful addition. It's not a requirement. So what does smart low stress tracking actually look like then? And these are some different strategies that may help for you. So look at your weekly and monthly trends, not daily scores. Single data points are noisy. A bad sleep score one night tells you very little. A pattern of poor sleep over 3 weeks tells you something that is worth addressing. Use the data to ask better questions, not to make rigid decisions. Your heart rate variability is trending down. Oh, interesting. What's happening in life right now? Are you under eating? Are you under sleeping? High stress? The number opens a conversation. It doesn't end one. Track 1 or 2 metrics that matter most to your current goal. If fat loss is the goal, how about step count and sleep quality? They're the most relevant. If performance is your goal, then maybe heart rate variability and recovery trends do matter more. You do not need to obsess over all 15 zillion metrics that are on that dashboard. That's just like, oh my God, I can't be able to look at it all, right? Cross-reference it with how you feel. After every session, note briefly how your energy, mood, and performance felt. Over time, you'll start to see which metrics actually correlate with your personal preference and which ones don't. Everyone's data is individual and generic benchmarks may not apply to you. And remember that the tracker is a tool. You are a human being. The tool works for you. You do not work for the tool. And it is based on algorithms. Algorithms work in a much more perfect world. We are human beings. We are far from perfect. So remember, data is information. A low sleep score, information. It may mean you train lighter that day. It may mean you go anyways and you actually have an absolutely amazing session. And it may mean that you just look at more so what's disrupting your sleep and what changes could you make. It does not mean you failed. It does not mean today is ruined. It does not mean that you are not accomplishing your goals. Use the information to make better decisions over time, not to judge yourself in the moment. The goal of any tracking tool is to make sure you're more aware and more effective. If it's doing that, great, keep using it. If it's making you more anxious and more rigid, that's a signal too, and that's the data worth acting on. So wearables are incredible tools when you use them right. Trends, data, movement accountability over time, all genuinely useful. But just remember, you are not the sleep score. Do not write off the day just because of a number on a little screen. Use the data. Don't let the data use you. Thanks so much for listening. If you found this episode valuable, please rate, review, and subscribe. And I'd love if you shared this on your Instagram and tag me, Sammy_livestrong. And if you'd like to learn more about my coaching and join the Project Livestrong family, please message me, Livestrong, on Instagram, and I'll see how I can help. I'll see you next time.